So talk to me about why you decided to transition from doing traditional rentals where it's one tenant or one family within the one unit versus getting into this room rental space.
I don't think there's another property that we'll put a single long-term tenant into in the next couple of years. It just doesn't make sense. Like anyone who's running their numbers and thinking that's the best play is really missing a lot of great opportunities. First, you're flat going to make more top-line revenue.
Yeah.
The second point is I have almost zero vacancy. When you take into account the fact that in long-term rental, you've got time to turn the property. You've got time to market it. You've got time where the person's got to give notice where they're at. Whether we write it in or not, vacancy at turn is something approaching 2 months.
Yeah.
In the co-living model, we just don't have that expense.
Yeah. When you talk about turnovers, it's real simple for us. We just go in, make sure the room's clean, change the linens, and that's the turnover for that unit.
A day. A
day. Welcome to another episode of the Co-Living Investing Podcast. My name is Ashley Jeffers, and here on this podcast, we talk long-term room rental investing, entrepreneurship, and a little bit of tech. Tonight, I have with me Ed Pugh. Welcome to the podcast.
What's up, homie?
Thank
so
you
good to be here. Yeah, this is awesome.
This is going to be a good one. Ed is a pillar in the real estate investing community in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. This is a guy that has a ton of knowledge and is very welcoming and supportive of investors in our community. So, Ed, we're going to get straight into it because I need to know how you got to the level of success that you have reached today. I know you're a veteran. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me, because I believe that you started into investing while you were still in the military. So tell me, when you were in service, how did you stumble into investing? Like, why?
Yeah. So, when you're in the military, first of all, shout out to our military folks who are watching the podcast. We appreciate it. They know that, when you're in the military, you're not making a lot of money. There's not a lot of people who go into the service for the money. I went in because I needed a way to pay for school. And I read a book just like everyone else called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like everybody,
Classic.
And it occurred to me that maybe I could do this while I was on active duty, and bought the first investment while still on active duty, and have bought some number since. But that's what started me on the journey. Was I was in the military. You can't really go work at Burger King part-time when you're on active duty. And so I needed to find something. Crypto wasn't available to us at the time.
Right.
So I might have been a crypto trader if I had the options, but read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that started me on the journey.
How did you, tell us about the first deal? How did you get into the first property?
So was on Zillow and saw a property. It was listed for, I think, like $127,000. Jumped in the car, went over there at like 10 p.m. at night, flashlights looking in the windows.
At night?
Why
at night?
When you're a young Marine, you don't, there's not a lot.
You just jump in the car.
Yeah, you just do what you do.
Got it.
Might not do that today, but ended up buying that property for something like, it was an REO. It was owned by the bank. And this is 2005-ish. And ended up buying that property for actually like $27,000.
Traditional financing? So
no, at the time. So this is 2005, before the crash. So it was a Wells Fargo loan, and it was just a construction loan. And people joke about, back then we used to be able to walk in and just say, like, what number do you want? It was just like that. Just walk in. The lender was like, well, what do you need? I was like, well, we need like $27,000 to buy it. And then we need, $60,000 to get it fixed or whatever. And they wrote the check.
Just gave it to you.
Yeah. It was a little different back then.
Yeah, it was.
But, blessed to have that experience. There's a lot of, just like everyone's first deal, there's a lot of things that went wrong with that deal. But had we not done that deal, we wouldn't have been on the journey. And I'm really thankful for that.
What market were you in at the time?
Yeah, it's out by Jacksonville. I happen to be stationed at Cherry Point, which is in Havelock, North Carolina, just east of New Bern, North Carolina. And kind of a coastal Carolinas area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So fast forward to today. How do you mainly buy your properties today? Are you still walking into banks and being like, yo, I need 100,000 grand, all 20s, package them up, put them in the bag,
Not
I'm
unmarked
walking out.
bills.
Unmarked bills.
That's right.
Is that how you're buying properties today?
Yeah.
Or
I don't think anyone at scale is really doing that really effectively. I think we're all having to find approaches to at least secure the property initially.
Yeah.
And then do, whether it's DSCR financing or something like that. Like I know you use something really creative in your strategies, which I'm sure you've talked about on other podcasts. But primarily in our business, we buy properties in one of two ways. It's either true private capital, and by that I mean actual individuals who write us a check. I only delineate that because sometimes hard money lenders will describe themselves as private lenders, and they aren't the same product.
Not at all.
No heartburn with hard money lenders. It's just a different product.
it's different.
So we buy it primarily with private lending or with creative financing. And by that, it's either seller financing or we take over their mortgages in a subject to approach.
Okay. So you're mainly buying with a combination of private money and creative financing.
Yes.
Tell me about your, and this can be recent or can be, since your first property. Tell me about your best deal that you did and your worst deal where you thought, that's it, I'm done. I'm not investing ever again.
Yeah. Our worst deal actually has happened over the last 3 years. We bought a property. It was actually the first property we tried to convert to be a co-living property.
Interesting.
Yeah. We bought the property. We actually got it converted. We bought it with hard money. And we struggled to get it occupied. Then the people, we hired a property manager. The people that got placed by that property manager were not the right people. One of them was threatening other guests with a weapon, as an example.
Yikes.
One was bringing her grandkids over, and they had their own bedroom set up at our co-living house. So lots of problems there. But the real reason we ended up losing a substantial amount of money there was we had bought it on hard money, and this is one of the concerns we share about hard money. The hard money lender wasn't willing to continue to bridge for us, and they actually foreclosed and took the property back.
Wow.
After we'd sunk a lot of money into that property. So I don't know dollar for dollar what I lost, but it may be the largest single loss I had on any property ever. Yeah.
And you're still investing.
And we're still out here fighting.
Didn't throw in the towel. Huh?
No. What it did point out to us, and one of the reasons why getting truly expert kind of platforms and systems in place matter is, so then fast forward, we tried co-living again, and we went from 0% to full occupancy. Now it's 3 units, but we did that in 10 days.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about the difference of us trying to fill a property, and we never got to full occupancy, and then there's platforms and tools out there that'll get you to occupancy much quicker. You're just looking for more efficient ways to work through the process.
Yeah, the hardest part that I've experienced in the room rental investing business is the marketing part, is finding the tenant, maybe not necessarily finding applicants, but the screening, talking to them about the rooms and just the time that it takes to vet all of these different applicants. It takes a lot of time.
Right.
So if you can find platforms that will do that for you, it's worth whatever they're charging.
Yeah.
So tell me about your best deal.
Yeah, we've had a lot of really great deals. We also run a wholesale business. So probably our best deal is in the wholesale world. We've made over $100,000 on a property we never owned once. Matter of fact,
one deal, $100,000.
Yeah. The day we contracted the property, there were like little cockroaches over in the corner of the house because it had been vacant for a long time. The day we sold it, those same cockroaches were still sitting
there.
in the same place. We still got a check and it cashed. So we didn't lift a paintbrush in that house. We didn't lift a broom in that house. We just happened to find it in an inefficient market and moved it into to a more efficient market.
For your wholesaling side of the business, what markets are you operating in?
Primarily Charlotte. We market effectively to, you were talking about kind of being in the community. One reason that's really important to us is we kind of really go deep in Charlotte sits in Mecklenburg County. So Mecklenburg County and every county that touches it is really our focus. By default, we talk to enough sellers that sometimes they'll call us and say, hey, we have something in Columbia, South Carolina, or Jacksonville, North Carolina, or markets that are kind of not as local to us. We're doing a deal in High Point right now. Okay. So we'll do deals in other markets, but actively marketing is our home.
I think it is, but I'll ask you, do you think that's your secret sauce, is building relationships with as many investors realtors, contractors that you can. Is that, you think that's the secret sauce to
For
what
us,
makes your business successful?
in our business, that's our leverage.
Okay.
Lots of people are smarter than us. Frankly, lots of people probably work harder than us. You know, we play the ground game better than anybody else in the market.
Okay.
Like if you're out at a meetup, chances are pretty good either me or my business partner are there.
Yeah.
You know, and we really have leveraged that over a very extended period of time. Have a friend who runs a meetup locally. He'd run it for 3 years. He decided to stop running it recently. And I was like, man, we've been running our meetup for like 12 years now.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 12 years.
I didn't realize that.
Even our office hours, we've been running that since 2019.
Wow.
So, and that's a weekly event we do. So, yeah, you know, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy.
Ooh,
but
you're
there's,
telling me.
yeah, you know, but there's nothing more effective than meeting people in life, in real life, you know, shaking a hand with them. Like I've even joked with you recently about the fake optimism and everything's going great.
Yeah.
Like I killed that like years ago
Yeah.
because a lot of the people who are coming in, they don't need to hear like the things that are going great in our business. Of course, things are going good in our business.
Right.
There are things. What they really need to know is sometimes things don't go great.
Right.
And you still need to keep fighting through it. Do I like the fact that we lost money on this co-living house? No.
Not.
But somebody coming into the business may benefit more from hearing about that than a simple success story because that sometimes feels out of reach for them.
Absolutely.
Or if they have one deal go sideways, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I can't do this. No, this business is just about like things are not always going to go to plan. And sometimes you just have to overcome those challenges.
100%. I think that's business in general, that it's not, you know, one way up.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
This is success. No, business is like this.
Right.
Like it's you can one day be in like the best position ever, and the next day be looking at your bank account like, I probably should go fill out some applications.
Yeah.
Like maybe I should go do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Being relatable in this business, being a problem solver in this business is what will carry you the furthest.
And just like the last point on that is I like the content that gets put out there by a whole variety of people.
Yeah.
However, sometimes that content makes the business feel a little too simplistic and doesn't talk about how many challenges are going to come along the way.
Yeah.
And back to like why our ground game is really important is I feel like we build really real relationships with people when we can connect with them in that way.
Yeah. So at some point you got your real estate agent license.
Yeah.
What led you to do that? And has it been beneficial as an investor?
Yeah. I am licensed in the state of North Carolina as a real estate agent. My license is currently hung with Real Brokerage, which is kind of a EXP model.
Okay.
And it does help my business in some ways. All things equal, if I'm talking to a seller, I think they may put a lot of weight on the fact that I'm licensed.
Because you have to disclose that.
Because you have to disclose it. But I don't think most investors are well served to be licensees. It gives additional oversight that most folks are going to have a lot of trouble walking that line. So if I weren't licensed today, I wouldn't go and get licensed. The fact that I have a license, you know, I maintain it. I do my CEs that I have to do, my classes. I pay the fees I have to pay. But it probably costs in time, classes, training, systems, something approaching like $3,000 a year to maintain it.
Yikes.
Yeah. And, you know, we don't even list our own properties. We still outsource that to another agent.
Really?
So I just wouldn't really advocate it. You can get such great help by really great professionals.
Yeah.
What I like to advocate for a lot of folks is like if you're not licensed today, learn the skill sets of being a really great investor, and then 18 months from that, then make the decision if you're going to bolt on the license or not. And my gut feeling is most folks faced with that choice are not going to decide to bolt on the license. So yes, I happen to be licensed. I wouldn't advocate it for folks.
Yeah.
It makes walking the line of agency versus being a fiduciary versus solving problems for folks, it makes it really, really difficult. And you have to be really exact. So.
Yeah. very sharp
Yeah.
on your knowledge and your approach to potential sellers,
Yeah.
because you could find yourself in some trouble,
Yeah.
and nobody wants that.
No one.
So, when we are talking about creative financing, right? So how you're buying properties, I want to spend some time on this because people think that, well, some people think that the only way that you can buy investment property is if you start off with wholesaling, and that's how you get into real estate.
Yeah.
Or if you bring a 20 or 25% down payment, and that's the only way.
Yep.
Well, there's only but so much down payment money that one investor can bring to the table to do deals.
Yep.
So can you talk a little bit about the creative financing strategies that have served you the most, as far as, you know, how do you decide what strategy to use? You know, what types of sellers make the most sense to work with when it comes to approaching them with a potential creative strategy?
One of the great things about the creative strategies is it really removes the hurdle of financing, especially in the subject space that we're concerned about and growing in, the co-living space. One of the challenges we face is that many of the DSCR products haven't caught up to the fact that we're making a lot more income than long-term rates. So a lot of the lenders will only qualify us up to certain levels. One of the challenges that creates in a city like Charlotte is we can buy a lot nicer inventory and provide much nicer homes and rooms and spaces for individuals, but at some point the ratio of rent to purchase price breaks down.
Yeah.
We know that we can still buy things above that and they're going to cash flow for us on a co-living model.
Right.
But lenders haven't quite figured out how to underwrite that just yet. Now, they probably will in the future. Airbnb was similar in the early days.
Yep.
But I'm going a long way to make the point of when we do creative financing, those requirements aren't there. Meaning the debt is already worked in, whether it's seller financing and the previous owner is going to provide us the capital, or we're going to take over responsibility for their mortgage. We're going to start making those payments in a subject to, and that long-term financing generally is going to stay in place, at least long enough for us to establish a seasoning period for our DSCR lending.
Yeah. So talk to me about, you haven't always done room rentals,
No,
right?
no.
So talk to me about why you decided to transition from doing traditional rentals where it's one tenant or one family within the one unit versus getting into this room rental space.
First, I'll add, I consider myself a long-term buy and hold investor. At heart, that's actually what we describe ourselves as, even though we run a wholesale business and do some other things. I don't think there's another property that we'll put a single long-term tenant into in the next couple of years. It just doesn't make sense. Like anyone who's running their numbers and thinking that's the best play is really missing a lot of great opportunities. And there's a couple of specific reasons why. First, you're flat going to make more top line revenue.
Yeah.
That's just dollar for dollar, you're going to make more top line revenue. We're in the Charlotte market, but generally in the Southeast, any of these submarkets are going to do great in this model.
Yep.
The second point is I have almost zero vacancy. It's not zero. There's a cost to it. Some of the platforms charge you some days.
Sure.
But when you take into account the fact that in long-term rental, you've got time to turn the property. You've got time to market it. You've got time where the person's got to give notice where they're at. Whether we write it in or not, vacancy at turn is something approaching 2 months.
Yeah.
So that's what, 16% of your income for the year? You know, that's not going to be great for you. Then you have repairs. So you're going to have to paint the whole house. You're going to have to change out the bathroom. You're going to have, you know, all of these different things where in the co-living model, we just don't have that expense. As a matter of fact, there's plenty of properties that in a co-living model could look dated. It could look a little less cosmetically desirable. And these folks are still going to be really happy to live there, you know? And so for a lot of reasons, I just don't think it makes sense, especially at the price points that we want to buy at, to do long-term rentals. You know, if you're going to do, in our market, something sub 100 in an outlying market, you're going to try and do a long-term rent. Okay, great.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is use the co-living model to allow us to buy nicer inventory in places where we really want to hold, and allow appreciation to its work over time.
Yeah. When you talk about turnovers, it's real simple for us. We just go in and make sure the room's clean, change the linens, and that's the turnover for that unit.
A day. Like push the button, walk in, fluff a pillow.
I'm not even doing it. I got a house cleaner that I'm like, can I pay you extra couple dollars to go and change the linens on the bed and wipe down the surfaces and get the room ready for the next renter? Because traditional rentals last year on one, I think I spent $5,000.
Right.
Switching out the flooring and painting the whole unit. It's a single family home near Burlington and Hall River, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, small house.
Yeah.
$5,000?
Yeah.
The cost of everything is going up.
And then what's your cash, even if you get it that rented at market, you're just fingers crossed that you get that money back in a year. Like
you lost whatever you made in the past 2 years on the turnover.
Yeah. And I'll tell you the other thing that opened my eyes to the room rental. So we have a property. It's a little bit of an outlying area near Conover, South Carolina. Okay. This is I think the local dialect for that might be you got to go around your knee to get to your elbow or something. Like it's really
it's
out.
Yeah,
it's out there.
Yeah.
And it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and we were just like, we were having trouble getting long-term renters, and we're just like, let's just try. Like one of the benefits to having a couple of properties is you can kind of experiment a little bit. So like, let's just try. Mm-hmm. We also went from 0% to full occupancy in 10 days in a property out in the sticks. In Conover, South Carolina. And nothing wrong with that. There's people who want to live out there.
Yeah.
And what we learned was the alternative to the folks who were staying in our property was they were going to stay in a hotel or potentially be sleeping in their car.
Yeah.
So when you can provide them better housing at a better value than they're already spending, like it's kind of a no-brainer. And so
win-win.
As soon as that one clicked on for us, we're like, man, if we can do this in Conover, man, Charlotte, it's a wrap.
Yeah, for sure. High demand because whether you're in Charlotte or anywhere else in the U.S., we're all in the midst of an affordable housing crisis. So where, you may be able to live comfortably in your home, your bills are paid, you're good to go. You're probably like not too far away from someone who is experiencing, like you mentioned, living in their car or living in these motels that are charging them $350, $400 a week for a motel that's probably not that clean, probably not that safe.
Yeah.
So the name of our game is clean, safe, and affordable.
That's right.
You provide those 3 things and you won't have a vacant room for very long.
We're covering utilities. Yeah. We're covering internet. We're covering insurance. So these folks can literally just, every time I have a vacancy, the platform we use often will put their check-in out like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, but can I move in? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we can get you there sooner.
Yeah.
And just being back in a cycle of real estate that's really serving people's real needs, I love it. It serves my heart. I like the approach. I probably lean a little too much into that sometimes, but
No, that's we need more of that, right? I'm kind of glad to see the days of Airbnb dying down. I think that investing model is on its way out.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. I mean, 10 years ago, you'd stay in an Airbnb because it was way more affordable than staying in a hotel.
Yep.
Now, Airbnb just as expensive as a hotel.
Well, and the host side of it isn't as favorable of an experience either.
Right.
We were on Airbnb with a property at one point. We're in the South. A guest at the property found a bug under some curtains at the property. We'd had it cleaned, but there was a bug. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Airbnb. This is when we pulled the plug on Airbnb. Mm-hmm. Airbnb didn't just refund their cleaning fee; they refunded their whole stay
over a bug
found in the property. And you're just going, if I have so little control over that, I can't be on that platform. Like that's too much risk for my business.
Absolutely.
And that's when we moved out of that space. But it's only gotten worse. I understand their fees are going up. all of it. I think that business model really is going to struggle.
Yeah, for sure. You may or may not get paid as a host. I think I saw something a couple months ago where they're changing their payout model, where it has to go under, some pretty strict reviews before they pay you as the host.
But they got paid.
But they got paid.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's risky, and for me, I tried it. I tried Airbnb. Yeah. I tried it twice.
Yeah.
at two different time periods. The first time I tried it in my own house, which was scary. So every time I got a guest, I went and stayed at my best friend's house.
Yeah.
So I left the whole unit. It's like, you can have it.
Yeah.
We come back Sunday night when they left. And then the second time, fast forward to a couple years ago, I tried it, and I thought it was a good idea to do this rental arbitrage model. So I didn't own the unit, but the owner had a quadplex a mile from Bank of America Stadium here in Charlotte. And so the top two units, those were traditional rental units. The bottom two, he had them furnished, so they were already set up for Airbnb. And I'm like, oh, this is a no-brainer. Like, right. I don't have to buy any furniture. I don't have to do anything other than start the management of these units and pay him whatever he's looking for each month, because he didn't have time to be an Airbnb host. He's moved on to, much larger projects. And so the first time someone asked me for more toilet paper, I said, this was a bad idea. You're only going to be there for the weekend. Why are you messaging me asking me for more toilet paper? So that was like, you shouldn't have done this.
I swear we had the same tenant.
And then there was another one that was like, oh, no, you definitely shouldn't have done this. Before she officially booked, she asked me to send her a picture of the neighborhood so she could, I guess, check to see whether or not it's safe.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, screenshots of Google Maps. Mm-hmm. And that's as far as I went. Sent her those screenshots. I guess they were satisfactory. She booked. When she left, she gave me a 4 instead of 5 because she said the neighborhood wasn't safe. Say what now? So off of that was like, we're done here.
Yeah.
This is the hospitality business. I'm a real estate investor.
It's a different business.
I am not in the hospitality business.
I remember, like, there were, just like you, it was like 1, 2, 3 strikes were out something. But like, I remember someone texting me at like 2:30 in the morning. They were like trying to get into the electronic lock, and they couldn't figure it out, and they're pushing the little button and it's popping up on my phone, and they're like, could you come let us in? We're drunk. We can't get, I'm drunk. I'm at my house. Like,
I'm at home.
We're this is you're just on your own. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Not sure what to tell you.
But no, I think that's just a whole different business.
Yeah.
And what the co-living model does is it gets us back to the core of what we're doing, which is like, we're giving you a clean, like you said, clean, safe, affordable place.
That's it.
You guys are here, manage the house how you were. I'm not here to manage your little back and forths. I wouldn't do it if it were a dorm.
Right.
You guys are fine. You guys are all relatively adults, and
they figure it out.
Yeah.
They figure it out because when we're talking about what their alternative is, it's either being priced at a traditional rental market. Because what's a 1-bed, 1-bath on average here in Charlotte, like apartment unit? It's like $1,500 a month. Yeah. So we're talking about renting them a room for somewhere between, I don't know, $900 to $1,100 a month.
Yep. Utilities included.
Utilities included. So laundry included. I have washer and dryer in each property. So when they think about, whether or not they should work it out with their roommate or get kicked out, it should be a pretty simple decision. Let me work out my living situation, because it's going to be difficult for me to find something else that's affordable, where I can have some sort of quality of life.
I think you gave me some good advice early on when we were like just getting on board. So I thank you for that, by the way. But
you're welcome.
You've been like a great sounding board for what we've been going through. But early on, there was like a lady and a dude there, and they were like, right off the bat, there was some tension, and you were just like, just give them the invitation. Like, hey, if you're going to stay here, this can't continue. But, if you want to protect yourself and get on the road, why don't you move on down the road? And the guy ended up doing that, and it worked great. I think he even tried to shake me down for something, and you were just like, don't give him.
No.
And you were exactly right.
No,
so I appreciate that.
We're not about to. We don't need to do that, because let them leave, and there's probably 10 in line waiting for
That's right.
that same room.
One of the great things about some of the platforms for co-living is, whether they're at my house or at a different home, they can just carry the whole lease with them. And I think that is actually a selling point. They don't have to go requalify.
Right.
If they're living in North Charlotte and that's where their job is, and then all of a sudden they go city in South Charlotte, Pineville, they get a job down there, they can just move within the platform. I think that's actually one of the selling points of some of those platforms. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, Ed, thank you for being here. I appreciate you carving out some time for me. I delayed you a little bit in getting in here, so thank you for hanging around. So I want to make sure that people know how to get in contact with you. So we will leave your contact information in the show notes as far as how to connect with you on social media. Because I want people to, especially if you're in the Charlotte area, I want people to reach out to you, get the information to come to your monthly meetup and your weekly office hours. Very powerful.
We'd love to have them.
Spaces. The knowledge is there. They just got to come get it. They got to leave the house and come to the spaces.
Yeah. This is the year. I said this at the beginning of the year. Like, this is the year I'm not hearing, like, I have been meaning to. No, you're either here or you're not.
Or you're not.
And it's fine if you're not, but don't tell yourself a lie that you want me to believe.
Ooh.
Like, if you're not out here, you run meetups. Like, it's one thing to see it on YouTube and Instagram or whatever, wherever you see it, fine.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to come out and meet the people who are operating, like, I don't know what else to tell you.
It's nothing like being in person.
That's it.
And exchanging with like real life human beings and exchanging information, resources, working together, doing deals together, which they have the opportunity to do with you and Michael. And so that's like powerful stuff. It's up to the people to go and get it if they want it.
That's it. Thanks so much for having us.
So on that note, we're going to wrap this episode. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.